Welcome back to In the Stu with Nice Landry, Eliza Reyes over here, and to my right, Mr. George Ofman. It's been very eye-opening to see their history, seeing where you started from to where you are at right now. And I heard a little birdie tell me that you have somewhat of a good podcast going on for yourself right now. Can you speak on that podcast? For the folks out here?
Sure. I started a podcast last year called Tell Me a Story I Don't Know. It's storytelling by top sports personalities with connections to Chicago, which include Chicago broadcasters and personalities, and then national people that have some kind of connection to Chicago. The idea came to me 10 days after I was let go by WBBM for COVID purposes, and suddenly I'm not working at a news radio station at age 66 where I thought I'd be working into my 70s. And that didn't happen. So I had to come up with something fast. But to do that, I had to learn what a podcast was. So I did a lot of educating. I did a lot of telephone calls, a lot of emails. I talked to a whole bunch of people to understand how to put together a podcast. What I did is I took my radio experience and used that along with the interviews and the equipment and trying to get monetization of it, and came up with an idea. The first idea the music wasn't right. Somebody said, try this. I said, great idea. Let's do that. Found somebody in Tampa who helped me a great deal, and it's still with me and uploads the podcast and tries to promote it from his end. Mm-hmm. And then I hired two people in Indiana, one who mixes for me and one who came up with my graphic. I had no idea. Somebody said the best graphic, here's an idea for a graphic. Did you ever see an album cover?
Yeah.
Okay. How about a bottle of wine? Well, people look at that. Sometimes they may not want the artist, but they see the graphic. Yeah. So I told this young lady, this is what I want to do. She got it first time. She did it perfectly. A character of me, and the concept of it, and it's Tell Me a Story I Don't Know. It's just set in like a book cover. Perfect. Then the idea came to me, well, I got to come up with the guests. I know a lot of people. Doing this for 48 years, I have gotten to know a lot of national people. And so my very first guest was Michael Wilbon, who is, along with Tony Kornheiser, does Pardon the Interruption. Michael is a South Sider. Yeah. He's a Chicagoan. He's a great guy. He is just one of the most wonderful people. And I've known him for almost 40 years, covering games, because he left early on to go to the Washington Post. So he was my first guest, but I also made interviews with Mike Greenberg. Greenie I've known because Greenie, the first person he ever worked with professionally was me. Really? Wow. That was when he was an intern at WMAQ All News in 1988. And Greenie's done fairly well for himself.
Yes, he has. Yes, he has.
But Bob Costas, I've known Bob Costas for 40 years, and he was a tremendous guest. And so I started tapping into national but local people like Chuck Swirsky, the voice of the Bulls, who I've known for a long time. Pat Hughes, the voice of the Cubs, and Steve Stone, the voice of the White Sox.
Did you teach Chuck how to dance?
Oh, gosh, are you kidding? Let me put it this way. He dances better than I do.
Oh.
Because I think he has 2 left feet, and I may have 3. I don't know, but he's a lot of fun, and it's fabulous. Today I was home editing Dave Revson, who is he's the host of the Big Ten Network, also a Chicagoan. And tomorrow, this being whenever we tape this, on a Wednesday, I'll be talking to Lawrence Holmes, who's a wonderful talk show host at The Score, who, of course, I knew when he walked into the door. And he has made himself into a fabulous success, and he's also a terrific guy. So, and every day I'm talking to people about, what about this guest, and how can we expand the podcast? It's not easy. I got very lucky in monetizing it with some people that I knew, some people that connected me to others, and so I'm making some money on it. Not great, but just enough to say, it's working. And I really, really, really enjoy doing it. But it's a very different type of thing that I had been doing prior to that. I was in radio. Well, I'm not in radio now. Now I'm in podcasting, which is a growing business and a tough business, as you know.
Now, do you film the podcast?
No, it's not. It's audio only.
Okay.
We do it on Zoom, audio only. I decided that right off the bat instead of going to something that may not have fit the way I could do things.
Okay.
There's a lot of notes and what have you, and maybe one day that we'll get into the video aspect of it and try to see if we can do some more work on YouTube. But everything is a lot different than when I was growing up. And now things are all, this thing has been really good and really bad. Because what it's done is it's taken our business of sports anchors and reporters and turned us into dinosaurs. And I was the lead dinosaur. Well, they got rid of this dinosaur, and they're going to eventually get rid of the other dinosaurs because technology says, well, you know what, we can get that on the phone.
Well, one thing you can't get rid of is experience and knowledge.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better. So you made this interesting move from radio to podcasting. You explained how it is very difficult and very challenging.
Right.
But what would you say that brought you? Because I can see just how you're talking about it, that it excites you and you wish to continue into it. What gave you that thrive to push you to be like, yeah, this is something I want to continue and to share with others?
Because people would ask the question, are you retired? And I said, no, I'm not retired. I'm just not working. But I was starting 2 weeks after I was let go. I was already figuring how can I do this podcast stuff? And so I did what I did when I was in college. I worked at it and learned how to do it and said, okay, I just don't want to put a podcast out there. Can I sell the podcast? Can I get some sponsors to do it? And I did, and I still have some of those sponsors, and that's good. The passion about it is it still allowed me to do what I was doing on radio anyhow, only much longer form. I mean, some of these interviews are over an hour, and I edited them down to give or take 40, 42, 43 minutes. But by the time you have my intro and the sponsors and the close, that's another 7 minutes. And on top of that, I add sound. Okay. So what I do with some of these interviews is, let's say it's Bob Costas, and Bob Costas' first Super Bowl was the Bears Super Bowl. A lot of people don't know that. He was the pre- and post-game for the Super Bowl 20 with the Bears.
1986.
So what did I do? I went to YouTube, found some sound of Bob Costas, and I put it into the podcast.
Nice.
Bob Costas did 19 Bulls games. Right before NBC hired him, he did it on Channel 9. Well, Channel 9 got me that sound, and I put 20 seconds in there. So what I do with this is when they're talking about certain aspects of their career, I'm able to find stuff that fits right in there. So I put sound bites in. So I'm still doing what I did on radio, only I'm doing it long form for a podcast.
You're dropping gems there. I just had a couple ideas.
See?
Exactly.
Thank you very much for that.
It's like I'm already learning from you without even needing to actually sit with you.
Well, now you got to teach me some stuff too.
Yeah.
Well, I want to see. I actually want to see where your sports knowledge is at.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Oh yeah.
Can you take a couple shots from me?
Okay.
Okay. All
I
right.
have drum rolls here.
So, the Bears, they just hired a new GM in Ryan Poles,
Right.
and a new head coach. What do you believe the direction of the Bears? Is it taking a good direction, or is it backsliding somewhat?
No, it believe me, they had to get rid of the previous
The
management.
other Matt and Ryan?
Yeah, the other Matt and Ryan. Ryan Pace made a few good moves, but he made one really, 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 really bad move. And then he drafted the wrong quarterback. And when you do that, you can set a franchise back a decade. That's how far you can go, because take a look at where the Bears are now. They drafted Trubisky in 17, was it? Or what, 18?
It was 17.
17.
Yeah.
Okay, now we are now going to go into the 2022 season with new management and still Justin Fields, not knowing if Justin Fields is going to be a franchise quarterback, a really good quarterback, an average quarterback, or a bust. It may take, but when they got him, and then they went out and they made the big trade to get Khalil Mack. The Bears look like, okay, we've got the pieces in place to be. No, you don't. You don't have the quarterback. Now their defense is aged, so now you got to catch up to the quarterback. It could take another 3 or 4 years for them to even be a Super Bowl contender. So that's why I'm talking about a decade. Is it better? We don't know, but certainly they had to take a step forward than to take a step back by leaving the same management group in charge.
And I think that is a great point there. I also want to allude to the fact that the Cincinnati Bengals seem to turn things around mighty quickly because they got their quarterback.
Well, they also have good talent, but what's amazing about Burrows is that, I mean, he was sacked more than anybody this year, which is amazing that they're in the Super Bowl. They had 7 losses, but they got there. And yes, having a top quarterback helps, but take a look what's happened in the Super Bowl. Look who isn't there. Tom Brady's not there anymore. Aaron Rodgers is not there anymore. He's retired. But this year, so what do you have? You have a mediocre quarterback in San Francisco and a rising quarterback. Okay?
Yeah.
In the meantime, Mahomes is not there. Yeah. The Buffalo quarterback is not there. No, but really, to win in that game, you have to have a quarterback. You've got to have a really good quarterback. This year, you're going to see one of those rare Super Bowls where you have an emerging quarterback and a mediocre quarterback. And one of them's going to win.
Now that you've said that, it brings me to the biggest question. Your predictions on the Super Bowl.
Oh.
We want to know.
Wow. It's tough. The 49ers... the Rams. I keep thinking the 49ers. Forgive me, I don't know why I kept thinking of the 49ers.
Chicago.
And the Rams and Stafford is more than a mediocre quarterback. He's a better than average quarterback. He's made mistakes, and he also played a dozen years for a lousy franchise in Detroit.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I was thinking San Francisco, but anyhow. So the Rams, they should be the favored team. They have some incredible offensive weapons. In Cooper Kupp is a terrific receiver. Their defense is better than average. They've been there before, so I think they're going to win, and I think they're going to win by at least a touchdown.
Well, they better win because their head coach is going to be on the chopping blocks if they don't, and I think it's a Super Bowl or bust.
I don't know if he'll be. I don't know if he'll be on. I mean, he's been there. You know, he's made it there. I don't think he'll be on the block if they lose.
Well, consider this: the Rams have 4 players making $15 million or more.
Yep.
The Cincinnati Bengals don't have any players making $15 million or more.
Well.
It's a sure money ball spot that the Cincinnati Bengals are in, a sweet spot before some of their rising stars get their big payday, and everybody's playing hungry. I wouldn't put it past the Cincinnati Bengals to pull out an upset against the LA Rams this weekend.
So you're predicting the Bengals.
I'm going with Joe Burrow, Joe Cool, and Jamar Chase.
You know, as much as I'm more so for the Rams. However, I really want to see Joe Burrow's win, especially with him being, he can possibly set this record that they were talking about. With having, oh my God, what is it called? He had won, what was it that he had just won? He's like on this 3, if he wins this, it was like he wins the Super Bowl.
He will, are you talking about Burrow?
Yeah.
He will be the either the first or second quarterback in his second year.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, his second year.
Right.
And I think that is what is getting to me. It's like, wow, I want to see that. However, I really want the Rams to pull out this win. I'm really rooting for the Rams.
Remember, they're playing at home. So this is the second year in a row that one of the Super Bowl teams is playing in their home. Well, they're not.
Tampa last year.
LA this year. So that's clearly an advantage.
Absolutely.
I mean, there will be, even though a lot of people, it's neutral to people that are coming into the Super Bowl, but there will be. It's a Rams crowd. It's still going to be a Rams crowd.
And then you got that Rams defense that has Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. You have Leonard Floyd off the edge.
And you still think the Bengals, huh?
I'm going with the Bengals.
Are you saying Stafford's going to make enough mistakes to let them in?
I think Stafford's going to play well. I don't think that the Rams will muster up a good enough running game to keep the defense honest. And so they're going to be able to pin their ears back and blitz on third downs because the running game's not going to work. That first and second down, third and long is going to come into play a lot in this game with Matt Stafford and these Rams.
Well, we're going to see what the Bengals and how they can protect their quarterback against the Rams defense.
Should be interesting.
Yep.
I'm used to seeing him slide all the time, but we'll see what this game can bring to us. But I'm really hoping the Rams can pull this off.
We'll be right back after this.